morning, children. Welcome back to Class 4 English Lesson 7, The Television Chocolate Room. The Television Chocolate Factory is an excerpt from a novel, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, written by renowned British author Roald Dahl, who wrote several books for both children and adults. He is well known for his imaginative stories. His famous work include Matilda, the BFG, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is his most famous book. Today we will read the lesson, The Television Chocolate Room, in detail. The owner of the largest and most famous chocolate factory in the world wants to find an heir for his factory. So he hides golden tickets in 5 chocolates and sends them all over the world. The 5 children who find these tickets and their guardians go on a tour of Wonka's fabulous chocolate factory. He shows them his latest inventions and discusses how he comes up with his special ideas for making new chocolates. By the time the group reaches the final testing room, only 2 of the children, Mike Teave and Charlie Bucket, remain. The Teave family, together with Charlie and Grandpa Joe, stepped into a dazzling bright room. Mr. Wonka handed each of them a pair of dark glasses and said, "Put on these, quick. This light could blind you." As soon as Charlie had his dark glasses on, he was able to look around him in comfort. He saw a long, narrow room with white walls and floors. The room was completely bare except at the far ends. Now, what happened? As the owner Willy Wonka had a chocolate factory in the world and he wanted to find a successor for his factory, what he did? He packed the golden tickets in 5 chocolates, and who will get those chocolates, they will have a tour in the television chocolate room. At the end, Mike Teave and Charlie Bucket were the 2 children who got that special prizes, and they went into the television chocolate room. Teave's family and Charlie's family went inside the room. Mr. Wonka gave them dark glasses and said them to wear those glasses, as the light inside the room may blind them. Charlie wore the black glasses, and what happened? The room looked very comfortable for him now. The room was completely empty except at the far ends. The room was empty. At one of these ends, there was an enormous camera on wheels. An army of Oompa Loompas wearing bright red spacesuits was working there, oiling its joints and cleaning the lens in complete silence. At the other end of the room, another Oompa Loompa, also in a space suit, was sitting at the black table, gazing at a very large television screen. Watching them, Charlie had a vague sense of danger. Now, what happened? As they went inside the room, there were cameras on the wheels, and they saw an army of people called as Oompas and Loompa. They were wearing bright color, red color space suits, and what they were doing, they were working in silence, wearing all those dresses, and also what the work were they were doing oiling the joints, and also they were cleaning the lens of the television. At the other end of the room, they saw another Oompa Loompa. He was also wearing a space suit, but what happened there? He was watching the people who have got inside in an unclear and now what happened? Charlie thought that There is something uncertain here, and there is some danger for us here. Mr. Wonka suddenly interrupted his thoughts. This is the testing room for my greatest invention, television chocolate, he cried. What is television chocolate? Asked Mike Teave. Don't interrupt me, child, said Mr. Wonka. It works by television. Now, I don't like television myself, but I know that children seem to watch it all day. That's me, said Mike. Quiet, said his father. Thank you. I'm Mr. Wonka. I shall now tell you how an ordinary television works, he continued. At one end, a picture is taken with a large camera, then the photograph is broken up into a million tiny pieces and shot up into the sky by electricity. How do they reach your televisions? Asked Charlie. Well, they hit the antenna on your roof and then flash down the wire to the back of the television set. When they reach inside, the tiny pieces jiggle and joggle till they fit together like pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. That's how the photographer appears on the screen. That isn't exactly how it works, Mike said. Now, what happened? As they were all inside the room, they had a deep discussion inside the room. Mr. Wonka said that this is the testing room where you're sitting is a testing room for the invention of television chocolate. And Mike Teave said that, asked him that, what is this television chocolate? Till then, Wonka said, don't disturb me. I will explain it to you in detail. And he said that as we take pictures in one camera, in a large camera, they take a picture in one end, and then what they do, and then the photograph will be broken into pieces and it will be going into the sky by electricity, and later on it will hit back to the antenna on the roof, and then it will flash down to the wire to the back of the television set. And then what happens, it will become jiggle and joggle, and then it will fit into the television in jigsaw puzzle, like a puzzle it will fit inside, and that is how the photograph appears on the screen. Now Mike said that, no, that isn't exactly how it works. Now I hope it is not the way how it works. Now Mr. Onka is explaining everything to the children and their parents who have come to visit the television chocolate. You are a nice boy, Mr. Wonka said, but you talk too much. Now then, the very first time I saw an ordinary television working, I had an idea. If a photograph could be broken into millions of pieces and then put together, couldn't I also send a real bar of chocolates whizzing through the air in tiny pieces and then put the pieces together at the other end, all ready to be eaten? Impossible, said Mike Teave. Well, what's this? Cried Mr. Onka. Bring in the chocolate piece, please. He nodded. Immediately, 6 Oompa Loompas marched forward, carrying the most enormous bar of chocolate Charlie had ever seen. It is huge, Mr. Wonka explained, because whenever you send something by television, it always shrinks in size. When a photograph, a big man, he is as tall as a pencil on the screen, isn't he? He waved to the Oompa Loompas. Here we go then. Then he suddenly shrieked, no, no, stop, for Mike Teave was standing very close to the camera. Stand back, he warned. The rays coming out of it could break you up into million pieces in 1 second. Now what has happened? Now Mike is telling, no, it's not about to. I can't believe these words. Now Wonka said that you're very good boy, but you will talk too much. Now what is the thing is, when I saw the television first, I thought that if the photograph could be broken into million pieces, why can't the bar of chocolates be broken into pieces as the same? Now Mike is telling, no, it's impossible to do all those things. Mr. Wonka asked the Oompa Loompas to get the chocolate, and the boy never saw. He was excited when he saw that chocolate because it was a very big chocolate bar. And he asked that we can't do that. Till then, Mr. Wonka explained that the chocolate will shrink in size. How it will shrink? As when a photograph of a big man is clicked and it's sent into the television, what happens? He will become as as small and as tall as a pencil on the screen. So, like that itself, when the chocolate is sent, it will also break up into, or it will also shrink, he said. That's why the Oompa Loompas are wearing space suits. The suits protects them. Steve moved away as one Loompa pulled a large switch down. There was a blinding flash. The chocolate is gone, shouted Grandpa Joe, waving his arms. He was quite right. The whole enormous bar of chocolate had disappeared completely. It is on its way, cried Mr. Onka. He dashed over to the other end of the room where the large television set was standing, and the others followed him. Here it comes, he cried. Now, what happened? Oompa Loompas, why were they wearing spacesuits? Because when they will carry the chocolates and when they will throw the chocolates to the thing, what happens? The suit will protect them in the space. Now, what happened? As Oompa Loompa pulled a large switch down, the whole room had a blinding flash. And now, grandfather is shouting that there is no chocolate, chocolate is gone. And what happened? Now, Mr. Wonka cried, it is on the way, it will be coming to the television now. And as he went, he ran quickly and dashed over to the other end in the room where the large television set was standing. And now what happened? All others ran behind Mr. Wonka. The television screen flickered and lit up. Then suddenly a small bar of chocolate appeared in the middle of the screen. Take it, shouted Mr. Wonka, growing more and more excited. How can you take it? Asked Mike Teave, laughing. It's just a picture on a television screen. Charlie Bucket, cried Mr. Wonka, grab it. Charlie put out his hand and touched the screen, and suddenly, miraculously, the bar of chocolate came away in his fingers. He was so surprised he nearly dropped it. Eat it, shouted Mr. Wonka. It will be delicious. It's the same bar, only smaller, that's all. It's absolutely fantastic, gasped Grandpa Joe. It's a miracle. Now what happened? All reached near the television screen and screen flickered. Flickered means shook unsteadily. It shook the screen was shook down unsteadily, and suddenly what they saw a small bar of chocolate which came in the screen. Now Mr. Wonka asked the boy to pick the chocolate or to take out the chocolate. Now the boy is asking how to take the chocolate. It is a television, it's not a thing where you get the chocolates directly. Till then Wonka said that no, you will get it directly, you put your hands and grab it. The boy put his fingers or put his hands inside and grabbed. What happened? For his surprise, he got the chocolate. The chocolate came into his hands. He was so surprised that he really dropped the chocolate down. Now, Mr. Wonka asked him to eat the chocolate, and he said that it will be very delicious. You eat the chocolate. The same chocolate what we sent has come in a smaller size. Now, grandfather is so happy and he started to tell it's a miracle. Just imagine, cried Mr. Wonka, when I start using this, you will be sitting at home watching television and suddenly a commercial will flash on the screen. Eat Wonka's chocolates. They are the best in the world. Try one of yours for yourself now, and you simply reach out and take one. How about that? Eh? Terrific, cried Grandpa Joe. It will change the world. Now what happened? Now Wonka is telling that when they will you will have a commercial break. So almost whenever you watch something, you will have a break time in between in the television. So at that time, what will come out? Eat Wonka's chocolates. They are very delicious. Or try one for yourself. As you put inside your hand, you will grab a chocolate and you will take one and you will eat that chocolate. Terrific, cried Grandpa Joe. It will change the world. Now, what happened? It will change the world. As in the commercial break, you will get one chocolate for yourself and you will taste it. So, I hope everyone liked the story, everyone enjoyed the story. I hope you will also feel that Mr. Wonka's chocolates, let them come as soon as possible so that when we put the hands inside the television, we can grab the chocolates and we can eat the chocolates. I will now tell you the summary of the lesson. This story is an excerpt from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory written by Roald Dahl. In this excerpt, Mr. Wonka is looking for hair. For that, he organizes lucky draw. He hidden golden chip in 5 chocolate and sent it all over the world and declared that whoever will get it will get a chance to visit chocolate factory. Luckily, Charlie, Bucket, Mike Teave and the other 3 more children got it and reached factory with their guardians. Luckily, Charlie Bucket, Mike Teave, and other 3 more children got it and reached factory with their guardians. But in first round, only 3 other children were eliminated. Only Charlie Bucket and Mike Teave was able to reach testing room. When they were about to enter, Mr. Wonka handed them black glasses and explained that the dazzling light in the room would blind them. Otherwise, when they entered the room, they realized that chocolate room is long and narrow with bare white walls and floors. At the far end of the room, as they saw army of Oompa Loompas in red spacesuit were cleaning the lens and oiling the joints of an enormous camera on wheel. At the other end, in a single Oompa Loompa was gazing at a gigantic television screen. Seeing all these, Charlie had a vague, uncertain sense of fear. Then Mr. Wonka started explaining about his new invention, television chocolate. He explained his new invention is totally based on basis of television, how it works. Charlie quietly listened to it, but Mike Teave immediately protests that this is not how television work at all. Mr. Wonka, irritated by the interruption and disrespectful attitude. So he mildly say, "Don't interrupt me, child," then resume the conversation. So to give them proof, Mr. Wonka requests Oompa Loompas to bring an enormous bar of chocolate before they proceed further. However, he makes them stop because Steve went close to the camera. He reveals that standing close to the camera would be dangerous. The rays emitted by the camera would break an object into millions of pieces. This is why the Oompa Loompas were wearing the bright red space suits. After that, Oompa Loompas continued with experiment. Grandpa Joe shouts excitedly that the bar had vanished and Mr. Wonka, delighted at the effect of the show, tells them that bar would appear on the television screen at the other end when it does appear. Steve laughingly dismisses it as just by Mr. Wonka, touches the screen to take out the bar, and magically a real bar of chocolate comes in his hand. He is so surprised that he nearly drops it, overjoyed with this reaction. Grandpa Joe agrees with him and calls it a miracle that it will magically transform the world. Hope you all have enjoyed the story, children. Thank you.